Welcome to the Laughspin.com podcast.
Hey guys, what's up? It's Dylan from Laughspin.com. Thanks so much for once again tuning in to the Laughspin Podcast. This episode is a very special one. It features my interview with Jim Norton, Little Jimmy Norton, one of my favorite comedians of all time. It was a blast to talk to him. I've talked to him many times before, but this is the first time I actually sat down with him for the Laughspin Podcast. I met him up at the Sirius XM studios shortly after one of his Opie and Anthony broadcasts. Thanks to Jim and thanks to Sirius XM for letting me in to your fortified building. The security there is pretty tight, you guys, but I got in. So what do we talk about in this interview? I'm going to keep this really short because the interview is great, and most of you listening to this, I don't think, want to listen to me talk. You want to hear Jimmy talk. Obviously, talk about his new special, American Degenerate, which premieres on Epix on August 23rd at 10 p.m. Eastern. Remember that. In addition to that, his album, Please Be Offended, is currently in stores. So that was a special. That was his previous special that is now just available in album form, which you could pick up in stores or on Amazon, or you could download it from iTunes. I highly suggest you pick up Please Be Offended, and I highly suggest you watch American Degenerate on August 23rd at 10 p.m. on Epix. That's all I got. Why don't we get right into my interview with Jim Norton? Jimmy, thank you so much for talking to me. I appreciate it.
No, good. Thanks for coming up, man.
I know you're a busy guy.
That's okay. It's just a matter of finding out. We didn't realize you were traveling yesterday, so it was just good. We got it today. It's perfect. I'm here.
Yeah. No, I mean, it was short notice, but it was perfect. Tuesday. Let's do it.
Yeah, it's a busy week. I mean, just getting everything, all the interviews and stuff for the special. I mean, and it's like we're not even supposed to be doing radio this week, but Opie and Anthony split up their vacation. We were off last week, and then we're off again next week. So I think we could be live for this. So
right.
No, they really did me a fucking solid this year.
Yeah. Yeah, and I've seen Epix have really more and more comedians. This is what your second or third?
My second with them.
Yeah, I mean, every comedian I talk to that has worked with Epix have nothing but good things to say about them.
Yeah, it's like they creatively leave you alone.
Yeah,
they don't fuck with you at all, or very, very minimal.
Yeah,
and they were serious about promoting it. I mean, I think because they know I am like, I'll do all the press, and I'm happy doing it, and. You know, they got me billboards this year because I was like, look, the reason they did that is because when we air, Leno's off. So I did the Tonight Show August 2nd, and I'm doing it again the 26th right after the premiere, just to, get the replays plugged.
Right.
But I think that they felt bad that so I kind of guilted them into it. I'm like, fucking, there's no press I can do. Everybody's off. And I think they guilted them into fucking billboards.
Yeah, I saw the in Times Square. There's the I don't know what you call them, but the posters on the nice posters by the newsstands.
Yes,
it's pretty impressive. I don't think I've ever seen Jimmy Norton's face.
No, I never get posters like that. Occasionally with Antisocial, I did. But I very rarely get any kind of press like that. I always have to usually make my own press or fucking beg and scratch for it. But they were very cool about doing it.
Yeah. Yeah, they seem very artist friendly. It seems like you're able to, premiere it on there and then do whatever it is else you want to do with it, whether it's going to Netflix. Sure. I assume this will pop up on Netflix at some
Comedy
point.
Central, yeah.
Yep.
Well, they're good. Ross actually wanted to do a premiere for this. He said, let's do a premiere, or do you want to do one in a theater? And my low self-esteem said no. But then I watched the special again, and I'm like, I should have done a premiere. Like, I really like this one. And I hate my shit after I shoot it. Like, I literally,
really?
I hate it. Once I'm done editing it, I fucking despise it because I'm sick of it. But this is one I just watched the other day, and I'm like, fuck, man, I should have done a premiere because this was actually a good special.
Yeah.
And the other ones were good, but it takes me like a year to look back on. I watched Please Be Offended because somebody was tweeting me lines from it. And I'm like, oh, there's some funny lines there. Okay.
Yeah.
And that comes out on DVD the 20th, I mean tomorrow.
Right.
And I'm like, oh, there was some good lines. So I watched it again. I'm like, wow, I actually fucking was happy with that. But this is one that I like immediately, and I kind of wish I had done a premiere. I'm such a pussy.
I mean, you could do something retroactively. Give it a second push.
Nah, once it airs,
That's it?
Yeah, they've seen it already. And the opening I tweeted, so people have seen the opening already.
The opening is something I need to talk to you about, which is, I mean, it just encapsulates who you are, just your sense of humor so well.
Thank you.
So Michael K. Williams from The Wire. Omar, as people probably mostly know him. Is featured prevalently in the opening of American Degenerate.
Yeah.
What was that conversation like? First of all, explain. I could explain the scene, but I mean, I want you. First of all, how did you get him to do that?
Well, I didn't know. I wanted to seduce because Ozzy was last year, and that was so personal to me.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody knows Ozzy, but everybody knows that I wanted it to be somebody who, like, the people who like me know that I love. So they know I love Ozzy.
Yeah.
They know it. And they know I love Michael K. Williams. So for me to get him was a miracle. Like, I wrote the sketch where it was originally brutal. Like, I had him like actually grunting and fucking me and me going like, stop, why are you doing this? Like, he was brutally raping me.
Sure.
And then I'm like, that might be too harsh for him. I'm like, Mike might not want to do that. So I called him and I'm like, look, I have this thing. I want you to open my special. He goes, yeah, man, sure. I said, look, I got Ozzy to do it last year. And I'm like, look, I could get you a script. He goes, no, man, it's all good. If it's you, it's fine. And I was really happy he said that because it gave me time to tinker with the script because he might have seen that script and went, I don't know about this.
Yeah.
But I knew that once he was in the room, he would do it and it would be funny. So I initially had a gun in it too.
Yikes.
And Michelle Caputo, who was my producer, who was really smart, said, you might want to take the gun out because the Epics may have a problem with that. And they would have, because that really implies rape. Like, this implies that my hands were tied and I was gagged, but a gun makes it a little harsher. So I was kind of glad that I took her advice and didn't have the gun, even though my friend was there and he had a revolver. And it came out really good. And there's a scene where Michael licks my head in it. He improv that and asked me if he could do it. He slapped me on the ass. That was his doing. So the two most intimate things, which was the head lick and the ass slap, were things that Michael Williams just improv'd. And it came out really funny, and I was absolutely happy with it. But Epics was a little nervous about it because, again, it was a guy fucking me in the ass.
Sure.
Implying ass fucking. And then they're like, well, we don't know how funny it is. They just, they saw it on paper. They're like, we don't know if this is funny or not. So we showed it to them without the laughs, and they're like, we don't know. I'm like, trust me, I know where the laughs are going to come. So I remember standing behind the screen as it aired for that audience in Massachusetts, and it killed. And I was like, fuck it. I've never been happier with anything. I was like, yes, because I knew it was a vindication that you know what I mean? That,
right.
Like, I do know what the fans will respond to. And in fairness, Epic said immediately, wow, you know your fans. You were right. You know what I mean? They were really cool about it, and that's why I love them so much. They didn't push back. They weren't dicks about it. They've been completely supportive.
That's really great.
Now if people don't like it, I could accuse them of being racist.
That's right.
There was a black man fucking me, and I'm like, hey, you're just a racist. You just don't get it.
That's right. So it's interesting that Michelle had said, the gun
she was smart,
would apply rape, which, sure, absolutely. However, I wonder, man-on-man rape is barely talked about.
Right.
So I wonder what if you did go with the gun and the it was more clearly a forcible, non-consensual act, if the conversation would have led to rape because it's man on man.
This was enough for it too because I was gagged. My hands are tied behind my back and there's tits on my back and I'm actually going, oh, like, for some reason I am just not in the mainstream psyche enough to get in trouble for shit like this. And I also think because I'm on the Opie and Anthony show and the type of an act I do, and I'm very aggressive on Twitter and I smash people who are offended, that I think I get away with a lot. And I say get away with, I think that people aren't really going to be bothered with me for doing this stuff because it's kind of expected. Again, if I went on Twitter and said something horribly racist, like, and meant it, or if I tweeted a joke where the punchline was like niggers, but it wasn't like being sarcastic, like, that could get me a lot of shit, like like really bad shit, because then you're just being a dick.
Right.
But if I've used that word in quoting something or in bashing people for their hypocrisy and I've never gotten in trouble for it, I guess because I use it the right way. I'm not using it to be gratuitous or to be an asshole.
Right.
But I can't just go on and do whatever I want without limit. I'm not stupid. But I think I can get away with more than most people because they kind of expect me to be a fucking creep.
Right. And like you said, as rabid your fan base is, And as, successful you've been, you're not at the level where you're on television every week like Daniel Tosh.
Exactly. Tosh
and Tracy Morgan.
Tracy and Tosh have, because they hit Americans who really just know them from their TV shows.
Right. And they're shocked.
And don't know what to expect.
Right.
And plus there's a lot of money at stake. Even people who know them and like them and don't want to hear that stuff from them, there's a lot of money at stake. And I don't blame them. And I address both of those guys in my special, much more Tosh. And the rape jokes. And I don't blame those guys for saying they're sorry. They're both, edgy comics. And look, there's money at stake, and they're not dumb guys. And I would have said I was sorry, too, if I had a fucking multi-million-dollar... Yeah, you say you're sorry, you move on. Who gives a fuck?
Right.
You lose millions of dollars for a dumb rape joke or a dumb gay joke or whatever the dumb joke is.
Right.
Like, it's not that important. It's not like you're being crucified for the theme of your artistry. Like, if someone said, hey, Jim, we feel like you shouldn't be criticizing people who are politically correct, then they're getting to a core issue of me as a performer.
Right.
Like, they're saying, we want you to go back on who you are and your belief system, and that's a grave difference from one dumb joke.
Right. It's not worth it.
It's not worth it. And the only thing, I don't regret anything I've said in this special, but I shot this special at the end of March. It was actually a few months ago, and it all is timely. It works. But I talk about Tosh's rape jokes, and I don't even know who blogged about him originally. I've read pieces of the original blog. I don't even know what the original blog is, just little... Was that after that, I debated Lindy West. And I actually like Lindy a lot, and we had a fun debate on Kamau Bell's show. And I'm only hoping people don't see this and then think like, wow, he's really trashing Lindy West, because this was done before I ever heard of her.
Right.
So, and I've said this in another interview, I just don't want it to come off like I'm a duplicitous guy where I would have this, is that the right word? I think it is.
I believe so.
Where I would have a nice interaction with her and she and I stayed friendly after.
Right.
And then it would seem like I would go up and have a shitty tone about bloggers.
Right.
Because in fairness, I look back on it and I'm like, I kind of have a shitty tone about bloggers in my special. But, it's the only thing I would change is I would still mock them for fucking blogging about being offended. But in fairness, I mean, they're not doing anything different than comedians. They're just expressing their opinion through what they do.
Right.
Like they blog, I tell jokes. So I shouldn't shit on the way they're expressing their opinion any more than the fucking press should shit on the way a comedian expresses. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So in fairness, man, what they're doing is legit. Even if I think what they're saying is shit,
right,
or
and
stupid.
And I mean, I've seen your appearance on Kamau's show, and I've read Lindy's pieces. And when I was watching your special, I didn't think at all that you were talking about someone like Lindy.
Oh, good.
I thought you were talking about people who go to their Tumblr accounts and start writing, which is, I'm pretty sure, what the case was with Daniel Tosh. I mean, I don't think it was. I mean, Lindy is actually a writer, who writes for a well-trafficked website. So yeah, I assumed you were talking about people who, like the Tracy Morgan thing. That thing blew up because some guy went to the show and just wrote about it on Facebook, I believe. And that's how it blew up. And that's what's scary, that some people with no credentials, no real kind of grasp of writing or point of view or journalistic integrity has access to Tumblr or Facebook and can just say something and then it just blows up.
See, they don't bother me because I think that they have the right to do that. Like, their opinion, because they're not performers, isn't invalidated. Like, it's legit. You think Tracy was a creep, or you think Jim Norton's a creep, or you think fucking Daniel or anybody are pieces of shit, and fair enough. You should be allowed to say that publicly, and you should have a public forum. My problem is the dumb motherfuckers that make something of that. It's almost like...
I see.
Like because expressing your opinion or saying I hated this or this was my experience is fair. That was your experience. But the fact that people run with it and make something of it makes those people cunts, and those are the people I hate even more than the initial blogger or writer of the thing. And that's where my opinion has changed slightly, because it's always like when, like, I don't hate Al Sharpton as much for, again, back to Imus, because he didn't fire Imus. Jesse Jackson didn't fire Imus. It was these fucking pussy white people who work at the radio stations who are the bosses over at whether it's CBS or Viacom or whoever it was. So, like, William Donahue, the Catholic League, did not fire the Opie and Anthony show.
Right.
Did not yank the Opie and Anthony show. Fucking the radio company did, and they knew better. So there's a lot of people who are always worse than the people making the complaint. It's the people who take the complaint and go, well, we have to do something.
Right.
You fucking assholes.
They legitimize it.
They legitimize it, and it's like we like to watch each other get in trouble. And I kept the blogger thing in, because I still believe it.
Yeah.
I still stick up for Tosh and what he did, and I think there was nothing wrong with it because he was responding to a heckle.
Yep.
And I used it to segue into attacking the fucking cocksucker media, which was the real point of that, which was these pigs who really do show pictures of Daniel Lanza and James Holmes and Jared Loughner, even though they know it contributes to a culture of violence.
Right.
And they don't give a fuck. They do it anyway.
Because it's entertainment.
It's entertainment.
All theater. It's all theater.
And then people say, well, if you're acknowledging that the media has power, well, then you as a comedian have power by doing rape jokes. I did not step into a trap there. The difference is comedians don't motivate people to rape. Okay, no one rapes because they want to be the subject of a comedian's joke.
Right.
Doing something in humor, and it also does not make for a culture where that thing is acceptable and okay, and then people do it. Bullshit. But when you are the press and you read the manifesto and print the manifesto of a sociopath, you are giving him what he wants.
Sure.
And FBI profilers will tell you that is what he wants.
Right.
To go out in a blaze of glory or to be heard. Nobody wants to be the butt of a comedian's joke, but people do want to be heard and legitimized in the media. So the press is giving these fucking cocksuckers what they want. And the press can sit on stuff. Like, it's funny how mad the media got at Gawker when they wrote about that fucking... remember that guy from, I think, NBC or whatever? One of those guys was being held overseas, and the press blacked it out. They wouldn't talk about it because they didn't want the hostage takers to know who they had because they wanted this guy released. So there was a media blackout. Somebody from Gawker wrote about it, and the press was furious.
Right.
So they showed that respect to one of their own.
Right.
But I guess when it comes to the rest of us and our fucking workplace safety, go fuck your mother. It doesn't matter.
Double standard.
Double standard. So I don't blame them for being silent during this guy's being captured, but then show the rest of us that respect and don't fucking print these scumbags pictures unless we're still looking for them, like they were in the case of that Chris, who was that cop, whatever, the black cop who was
oh
rogue.
God, right? Yes,
that was legit because they were still looking for him.
Right. If there's a journalistic reason, if there's a functional reason, like you said, like if we actually need to identify this person or be on the lookout for this person, it makes sense.
Christopher Dorner, I think his name was.
Yeah. But at the same time, they were right. They printed his version of his manifesto as well. That, I mean, I don't think we needed that to track him down.
I'm not interested. I don't give a fuck about why he did it. So this fascination, I've had enough. And again, I've known a lot about serial killers and these murderers, and I'm sick and tired of this fascination we have with these little broken toilet human beings. And again, that's what all the profilers say. Treat these people like they're little nothings, which is what they are. They're little nothings. They're broken nobodies. They're not these monsters in the inner workings of the evil mind, because that's what they want. But the press knows it, and they do it anyway. So fuck the press. So I love that I attack them harshly in this, and I meant every fucking word of it. They're just vultures, and they weren't always like that. But it's 24-hour news cycle.
I was just gonna say it's cliche at this point to blame the 24-hour news cycle, but it's true.
They need to have people.
It's true.
Them.
That's it. It's all rated. It's all ratings. And they need to do it because if they don't show the manifesto, well, the three other news channels are going to, and they're going to suffer, and it's a horrible cycle.
And their excuse, by the way, is, well, this is what people want to see. Okay, well then rape jokes or gay jokes are what people want to hear. But they push those stories, and because, again, the same whorish mentality that gets them to desperately need eyeballs during a serial killer or fucking mass murderer story, they push these stories through. They recycle it. They fake outrage. They say things like, people are saying outrage is building. That's created by some jerk off in a newsroom.
Right.
So they go actively hurt performers, and that's why I have such a vindictive kind of vendetta against them, because I'm sure someday I'll have that kind of problem, and the press will love it They'll love it. They're the same ones that can't get enough of somebody's personal life. They can't get enough of Mel Gibson's phone calls. But I'd love to say to Matt Lauer, do you fuck your wife in the ass or no? Does she come when you go down? Like, talk to me about your wife. You want to sit there or talk to me. Maybe you've never said nigger, but have you ever said anything nasty about Asians? If you want to sit there and crucify Paula Deen, who is a fucking dumb fat twat, but if you want to crucify her for being honest under oath, how about you, scumbag? Did you ever say anything? Can you say honestly you've never said a racially inappropriate thing? You're lying.
Right.
No one believes that. But instead of like giving each other that break and that benefit of the doubt, we're just this country of fucking snitches and narcs, and we deserve every liar politician we get. We deserve it because when they tell the truth, we step back and we allow them to be crucified. So we deserve every fucking liar in public life. You know, like, oh, the corporations are greedy. We're greedy.
Yeah.
You know why there's so many corporate rules and all this shit? Because we're sue happy. That's a reason. You know, you slip on a banana peel and you want to sue the fucking homeowner for $30 million because you have emotional distress.
Right.
We're shitheads.
Or like the Travolta thing, which you talk about on the special.
Yes.
You know, those guys looking for $2 million because they felt, you know, harassed by. I mean, I'm not saying that they weren't, maybe they were. Maybe they were.
Yeah.
But $2 million for a nut grope.
If what they said is true, and I feel bad for Travolta because again, I don't know if he's gay or not. I legitimately don't. Maybe he's gay. Maybe he's bisexual. Maybe he's straight, and they lied totally. I don't know. But I personally, my belief is that it seems pretty specific. And it seems to me that they were telling the truth. Yeah. And it makes me feel tremendous empathy for him.
Yeah.
And I would like to hug him and go, I'm so happy that I'm a comedian and I can be a pig and admit that I love trannies and not give a fuck. And I'm not married with children. It doesn't matter when you're Jim Norton. No one gives a fuck.
Yeah.
I'm not going to surprise you. You can't get me with it because I'll tell you first. Whereas a poor guy like Travolta has a wife and children. And again, if I'm going to make fun of him, which I did, happily, I'm a liar if I don't tell my own experience. Like, I had happy ending experiences, and the reason I believe those male massage therapists is, and I mean this, and I said this in the special,
sure,
because I've done most of that shit.
Right.
Like, when one guy said that Travolta pushed his ass cheeks back and was moaning, I'm like, oh my God, have I done that a million times? Trying to get a finger, and when you feel that finger brush your asshole or your fucking balls, it's like, you groan to let her know that's what you want. It's this unspoken dialogue you're having.
Right.
And I believe that's why I believe what they said. So that's why I'm qualified to speak about it. And nobody seems to admit their own fucking dirt. Admit your own dirt. If you want to attack everybody else or even address everybody else, admit your own shit first, and then I'll respect your point of view.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, it's and you touch on the fact that, you know, in the special, that isn't it amazing, isn't it great that I'm a comic, that I could stand up here and just say whatever I want and there will be no repercussions, and maybe it's freedom. And that's, I mean, obviously I love watching comedy. It's a passion of mine.
Yes.
I mean, the part of the reason obviously is I like watching people tell jokes and tell stories, and it makes me laugh. But the other reason I love it, especially from, you know, a comedian like you,
thank you, is
it's pure freedom. That is freedom. I'm married. I got 2 kids. I can't, you know, there's stuff up here.
Sure.
Like I can't just let it all out.
Right.
And so I watch, you know, a guy like you, and I'm like, that is freedom. That is pure, unadulterated freedom. Watching him say some of the things that are in my mind, and making me feel less of a like a scumbag.
Well, you know, and the thing is, and thank you, is that the fact that we want each other. Like, me and Jim Florentine were talking one time, and Jim raised a great point because we were on terrestrial radio and satellite at the same time. And I loathed the terrestrial experience, not because you can't say cunt or go fuck yourself, but because they would dump out of Asian jokes. Or if you did an Asian accent, because there's such fucking that fucking twat John Liu, who I hope gets no votes for mayor, would target radio guys like JV and Elvis who did Asian jokes. This fucking hunk of shit that he is. So anything with Asian in it, we would get dumped out of. So it was this fucking thought policing and this selective language policing.
Right.
And Jim said, do you want to perform in a place that's 1,000 seats and you can't say anything, or do you want to do a 500-seat theater where you can say whatever the fuck you want, saying when you go back to satellite? And he was totally right.
Yeah.
So I'm on the Opie and Anthony show on satellite radio. There's always a limit. Even if my boss is not a boss, it's the fact that, the public outcry will mean people don't come to see me. So there's certain things you don't say because you don't want to and you're smart. But we have real freedom on Sirius here. I have real freedom on Twitter. I have real freedom on my stand-up specials, on my advice show. Like, I'm really fucking lucky as a performer that I have a level of fame that is nowhere near Tosh or fucking even guys like Louis, who is through the roof, or Kevin Hart. But I can say, and Louis can say pretty much whatever he wants. So Louis is a bad example, but I'm not near that level of fame. But when it's like I can say pretty much whatever I want without worrying. And if somebody on Twitter comes after me, I can just fire back.
Right.
Fuck you. Shoot yourself. Who cares? It's nice to have that freedom.
Yeah.
I'm lucky. I guess I'm lucky, I'm saying.
Yeah, you are. But, I mean, you've earned it. You've earned it. It's not like you've been doing this for 5 years.
Yeah, I've been at it for a long time. And when you get a fan base, you don't have to worry about all the people who see you and reject you because you have your own fans that come along.
Right. People are coming on purpose to see you. And that's a benchmark that every comedian wants to hit. It's great, crisscrossing the country and headlining, good comedy clubs, and maybe a third of the audience know who you are, but the other 2/3 are just there because, why not? Let's go see some comedy. But once you start drawing a crowd, like a guy like Doug Stanhope, who just, plays as many like small rock clubs as possible.
Yeah.
He knows people are coming to see him.
Yeah, he can say what he wants.
And that's delightful.
You're right. That is something comedians, and I forget not to take that for granted because it's one of those things that you work for many, many years to get, and you work hard to get. And then when you get it, you don't want to lose sight of the fact, like, I have it. Like, and I always try to respect the audience by giving them new material or by giving them good material. Like, it's like I don't ever half-ass it to my crowds. I work my stuff out anonymously in the city. Like, I go on as myself, but I don't work under my own name. And by the time people come out to see me, I want to have at least a new 40 to 45 minutes or 40 minutes plus some playing with the crowd and working on some stuff. Because that's my respect to the audience, is that you're not going to hear the same stuff you just watched on my special.
Right.
Like the stuff that you're going to see on this Friday on Epix on American Degenerate. I don't do that stuff anymore.
Right.
I have probably a new 25 to 30 now. I'm ready to go back on the road shortly.
Yeah. Yeah, it seems like your cycle, you always have something new premiering on television. Meanwhile, not always, but I feel like in the last few releases now, and Please Be Offended is now also coming out on
tomorrow. I think by the time this airs on DVD.
Right. So you always have like the last thing coming out in physical form while the new thing. So there's always, you're very prolific, Jim Norton.
No, well, it's like you like to lily pad jump from fucking thing to thing to thing. Or I've had a couple of CDs that came out. You just try to always have something to talk about or something new.
Yeah. Because
people are not going to love everything, but the more of you that's out there, the more people can get, turned on by, you know what I mean? Like, turned on to you, not by you.
Or by.
Yeah, possibly.
Sure.
Not likely.
You're a nice looking chap.
I'm trying to get in, eating better, going to the gym.
Yeah, man, you look great.
Thank you very much.
What do you been doing? What do you do at the gym?
Oh, I was just kidding.
I know. I'm going to embarrass you now.
I have two trainers, both women, who are both extraordinarily sexually attractive, and neither wants anything to do with me.
See, that doesn't distract you.
No.
I had a trainer once who was a guy. I think if I had a female, even if she was ugly, that I would not be able to stay focused.
I don't want either one of them. Like, you get used to it, and they both have amazing bodies, and they're fun to look at, but you really do get beyond it. Like, I just enjoy chatting with them, and they talk about their dates, and I don't care. Like, they're friends of mine now. And they're such good trainers. They really are legitimately good, and I like female energy. It's nice to just talk to a girl.
Yeah.
Even though you're not flirting, and I know they're not going to fuck me, it's not about that. I don't want a guy's energy.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean? I just don't want that shit in between.
Like,
sets.
go get him!
Yeah, or even in between. So, dude, what do you do? Why am I talking to you? I fucking talk to Opie, to Anthony, to E-Rock, to fucking Sam. It's all to Sal. It's all men.
Right.
I deal with men all morning. It's like, that's why it's nice to go on a beautiful girls, even though it's a totally different and non-sexual environment. It's fun.
Yeah.
And they work me differently. Like, I got to be careful. The eating is so fucking hard, dude. But, I want to drop the final 10 pounds. It's really difficult.
That's the worst thing. I mean, especially in your gut, it's all about diet. I mean, I don't smoke, I don't drink, I don't do drugs. My thing is food. Like, I'm fucking addicted to food.
Really hard, man.
I'm always up and down.
It's hard, and I do feel like these are all size 1 shirts from James Purse. Like, I'm throwing shirts out, or I'm giving them to homeless as I get, because I don't want to have that shit to go back to. Like, once I'm out of a size, I'm done with it. So now I can't. I don't want to fatten up in my shirt. Yeah. So I'm kind of forcing and I went and saw Sabbath, obviously, and I was buying all medium concert T-shirts. I was so happy to buy mediums. One of the reasons I want to lose weight is because I want to go online, and there's like these fucking really expensive old like original Sabbath shit from Never Say Die and Sabbath, but they're $750.
Yeah.
And I would buy something like that because I love the band enough. But it better fit.
You want to look perfect in it.
I want to look right. It's going to be tight and uncomfortable, but I don't want to be a fucking fat-titted cunt in it.
I mean, I wouldn't. You have 10 more pounds. I wouldn't.
Well, I want to tighten this up. Like, you see the gut.
Yeah.
It's just meat and mush that I've had for years and years, but I want it to be gone. And more of it, like, I've been eating a little shittier lately, and I actually still lost weight. Like, my one trainer said sometimes you're kicking your body. She's like, your body gets so used to what you eat, your chicken, that when you eat shitty once in a while, it forces your body to fucking metabolize faster, and that actually helps you.
Yeah. Well, they say, I mean, I'm sure they tell you that you should have, meals you really want to have every once in a while.
Yeah,
otherwise you just fucking
miserable.
You go fucking nuts. Yeah. Then you end up eating fucking giant party bag full of M&Ms or something.
Yeah, you want to binge for a week, and that's
then you feel like shit, and you're like, fuck it. Yeah, I'm off the wagon.
I'm off it. Fuck it.
And then you'll start looking like Bobby Kelly.
Poor Bobby, man. I worry about Bob. Although I think Bob is a streaky player. He's a streaky hitter. He's obviously gotten fatter from just, the pressure and the eating and the addiction, and he quit smoking.
Yeah.
That's a big one.
Yeah. He did quit?
Yeah. So Bobby doesn't smoke, so that really kicked him into gear with the food. But
yeah, I
want to see him lose the weight, and he can't. Plus, he's got a new son, and it's like, that's a lot of pressure.
It is.
But I also want to see him. It's like, you want to see your son graduate high school and get his little girlfriends, and
he'll do it.
Yeah, but addictions do stop that stuff. Like, if Geraldo is alive and you said to him, you fucking dummy, you abandoned your sons, he would punch himself in the mouth.
Right.
Like, Greg would be mad at himself. Like, how the fuck could I have done something so stupid? He would be the first to say that. So when you see something like that, or you see guys whose self-destruction has way too many years sooner, whether it's Mitch Hedberg or him, or Patrice had a stroke. I don't know if Patrice was heavy, but he also had diabetes.
Right.
Even if he had lost 30 pounds, that may have happened. You don't know with a stroke, because skinny guys have them too. But he was doing healthy things. Yeah, Vaughn said he was doing some healthier stuff.
Like, they had gone vegan.
Yeah, but he put weight on, I think, when he was vegan, because he said it's all fattening food, like breads and pastas.
Yeah. So
I want to see Bobby do it. I think he can, because I care about him. And it's like, you don't want to see your buddy unhappy. And Bobby's hilarious, so he makes fun of it. And you're not there. And he can do a great fat joke. But it's like, you don't want it to be the point where that's who you are.
Right.
Like, sometimes I'm caught up in, all right, I'm a fucking hooker-loving, tranny-loving pervert. And it's like, then there's other times I don't want to talk about that stuff at all. Not because, like, hey, man, I want to talk about my project. Right. But it's like, I'm bored with it because I do it, and I speak about it a lot. So I'm sure Bobby gets sick of hearing that shit.
Yeah. No, it's tough, and it's a type of addiction that it's not that I'm not saying drug or alcohol addiction is cool,
right?
But especially in the entertainment industry, if you have a little drug problem, or you're like drinking a little too much, it's like, yeah, well, he's an artist, that's what they do. But when you eat too much, there's and I know I sound like some kind of liberal asshole right now, but there's a type of hatred, for people who eat too, I don't get the urge to like get wasted or like smoke pot or like do coke. Like, I'd rather sit down and eat fucking 12 bagels.
Yeah.
Like, that's unacceptable. Like, that just means I'm a fat, like,
Right. Food's very hard.
It's very taboo.
It's harder than alcohol and drugs to quit, because you can't quit.
Right, because you have to.
Food is the hardest.
In some capacity, you still have to consume
Oh my
food.
God, you have to eat healthy. It's the hardest addiction, because you don't have to gamble. Even sex addiction, which is very much like food addiction.
Yeah.
Is not as hard as food, because you technically don't have to.
Right.
Although, you don't fantasize an intrigue with food. You can, but I mean, you don't text a bagel. I want to fucking put cream cheese on you, and it writes back when your girlfriend's in the bathroom. So they're both very, very rough addictions.
Yeah. Well, it looks like you're doing well, and congratulations.
Yeah, my trainers are good. My trainers are Jennifer and Shanit, and they're both really, really good at what they do.
Good.
You know, I'll tell you one of my trainer. My one trainer I think wants to remain kind of but my one trainer is Jennifer Gottlieb. She's on Jim Florentine's That Metal Show. She's like I forget what her name is there. She's a really hot chick that pulls stuff out of the box. That's Jen. She's
all right.
on Twitter and Jennifer Gottlieb, and she's really good, man. She mixes it up and she's fucking brutal. She can be brutal.
Yeah.
But she's helped me fucking, you know.
That's what you need.
Yeah, but she's nice and we have fun and we chat. So I like her as a person, but she's helped me a lot.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. Congrats on that. I wanted to talk a little bit about, you mentioned that you were on Jay Leno a little while ago, you know, trying to promote the special. And obviously, he's leaving The Tonight Show. I know NBC still wants to keep him around in some capacity, which I think is a smart idea.
Yeah.
One of the things that I respect about Leno is the fact that he has you on the show and has had during the first go around of the Tonight. You know, when he was doing the Tonight Show, he brought in people like you and Nick Thune and like all these people you wouldn't normally see on like mainstream television.
Sure.
So I think that's cool, and I think it's interesting that a guy like Jay Leno and you get along because he's very, you know, he's considered, you know, pretty middle of the road, you know, vanilla, and you are not. Do you think you'll? I mean, is there any way that you'll work with him again? You know,
depends on what he does. I mean, what I see Jay doing, and again, he's never indicated. Jay's smart. Like when you sit with Jay, he doesn't. He'll talk a little bit about, but he's not going to. You know, like he hasn't said anything to me. Like, you know, he'll just kind of say, "What's going on, man? How you doing? All right." So how you doing, Jay? It's good, man. It's good. You know, like and that's why he's so good at what he does, because he's not a fucking baby about shit. Like, he doesn't go on the air and whinge about it and whine about it. He just fucking stayed number one and made himself really hard to get rid of. Yeah. You know what I mean? And that's part of what makes him really a bright dude. I don't know what he'll be doing. What I see Jay doing is, because he fucking loves cars, it wouldn't surprise me if he did, like, you know, 1 hour car specials for like the Discovery Channel or the Learning Channel, or just all these things that he would probably love to do. Travel Channel shit, like fun documentary stuff, man on the street shit at car shows, like the stuff that he enjoys doing.
Right.
Because that stuff seems like it's right up his alley, and gigs. I mean, because that stuff that's fucking would be easy for him to do.
Yeah.
You know, this is a grueling gig. I like Fallon too. I mean, you know, and I'm not giving the politically correct answer. I genuinely like Jimmy, and he's had me on too. So the fact that I get away with a lot, and it's not just Jay. It's his exec producer. His name is Debbie Vickers, and she is surprisingly, like, nobody knows who she is because she's not on the air.
Right.
But behind the scenes where, like, you have to go through certain standards and practices, like, I haven't been sure about certain jokes. I'm like, should I do this one or that one? And one of them is pretty rough. And she's like, whatever, see, whatever your instincts tell you, you know, like, she's, I'm like, fucking Christ, like, if only people could see this is how the Tonight Show works behind the scenes.
Right.
Like, people that have the impression of it being this stick up the ass place, I mean, you know what I mean? There's guys there that when you do the bits, there's guys that will help you write stuff, and some of the stuff I'm like, dude, I can't say that.
You know, like, yeah, you could.
Yeah, try it. They let me do one joke one time where the punchline had something to do with the dog's paw prints on a girl's hips, which was, of course, a dog fucking a woman joke. Like, they really let you go very, very far. So I love doing it, man. They're definitely not as milquetoast as people think at all.
Yeah. Yeah, well, you know, I think that registered to me when you started popping up on there.
And rumor has it that Jay has a giant cock.
You know, I wasn't going to bring it up, but for years now I've heard that he's got one of the biggest dongs in Hollywood.
I've never asked him. I really want to.
You really should.
Because I'm just afraid that he would shame me, like, and go like, "Why do you want to know that?" Like, and he'd be right. I have no answer for it. Like, I don't know why I want to know. But I just die. It would explain his confidence, because Jay's a very confident performer. It would explain that. Well, that's why he just knows. He's the fucking guy at the helm. He's the biggest cock at NBC, and I respect that.
Right, both figuratively and literally.
I respect that.
Do you have another book in you, Jim?
Yeah, I want
to read some Jimmy Norton books.
I want to write another one. I've been very lazy, and the sex addiction hurts because you're always preoccupied. You're always focusing on that nonsense.
Yeah.
But I really do want to do another book. You know, Again, it's hard because I get to talk every day and every night about what I want. It's hard to muster up the passion. Then again, Chelsea Handler does it. That fucking machine puts out a book every 3 weeks. So
yeah,
Chelsea's doing it. So I should do something. I just got to think of something I really want to write about. But yeah, you're right. I should do it. It's been 4 years. 5 years.
4 years.
Almost 5 years.
And it seems like, I mean, more and more comedians are putting books out. And I feel like you started putting them out before that whole... I feel like there's just been I only feel this way because I'm constantly trying to keep up with everything every comedian is doing, and I can't. But I feel like you were kind of ahead of the curve, and yeah, it would be good. No pressure. I mean, listen, you've got enough shit you're doing. Yeah,
well, I want to write a book. If I could, I would love to do an autobiographical book about the addiction, about the sex addiction, a brutally honest book. Like,
I mean, I think that would be so helpful.
Yeah, I'm just not ready to. All of it I can't say. All of it, some of it I still can't say. No, I mean none of it's terrible though. You know, I'm never gonna. I don't fuck kids.
Right.
I thank God I don't have that demon. Like I don't want a horse to come in my mouth. Like I'm so happy. Me and a comedian named Russ Beneve were talking one time about
what is Russ doing these days?
I have not seen him in a while. I heard he's writing films.
He used to be one of my favorite comedians here in New York.
Yeah, I still see him at the Comedy Cell. He still works.
He's good?
I mean, yeah. He might be on the road. A lot of times guys go on the road or they're working on writing projects. He might be doing that shit.
Okay, all right.
We were talking about pedophiles, and I was saying, like, God, pedophiles should be killed. And he said something really interesting. He goes, man, thank God I don't have that demon. I thank God. Like, he had such a nice way to look at it.
Yeah.
And as I've gotten older and further into the addiction, I do think that, like, thank God that's not my fucking thing.
Right.
Like, it doesn't turn me on. I don't want to do it. I don't want to see it. Like, thank God I don't like hurting women. Like, the idea of raping a woman does nothing for me.
Yeah.
Even rape role play doesn't really do. Like, I have to just tweedle my own nipples. Like, I can be dominant and spank a girl and pull her hair, you fucking whore.
Right.
But, like, the idea of hurting a woman, like, legitimately does nothing for me sexually. And I'm so glad I'm not a sadist or, like, because I'm so addicted, like, to the other shit. I thank God that my addictions aren't that.
Yeah.
That horrible shit, you know?
Is it just what is it? Is it just the repetition, or is it specific things that you fall prey to?
Both.
Yeah.
Both, man. The repetition. I was doing this about a week ago. I was in bed and I was trying to get to sleep. And I just kept starting to jerk off and stopping. A lot of times I'll just edge.
Sure.
And then I just, all of a sudden, I get to a place, I'm like, okay, I can sleep now. But I realize you're getting high. It's like a dopamine drip where I'm just getting high. And instead of coming and ruining the high, I'm just kind of getting into that loopy breathing. Because you breathe different when you're jacking off. And I think that's a big part of it. Like, it's just kind of getting high. I think that's a big part of it. And I'm like, man, you are fucking addicted, man. 1 o'clock in the morning, you get up at 5:30, you're doing this shit.
Yeah. But it's like any other, you know, the people that think that sex addiction is not a real thing, you know.
Anthony Weiner's a great example.
Yeah. I mean, clearly, if he would stop. He would stop. You know, everybody's saying that he's a disgusting... I'm not saying he's not disgusting, but I'm saying, you know, most people are disgusting.
Sydney Leathers is sexy. It'd be hard not to send her dirty pictures. She's juicy, man.
Yeah, you think so?
Yes. Yes. I would not only put my dick in her, I'd come in her. I don't even know if she's on the pill, but I wouldn't even pull out. She's she's very juicy and dirty and sexy.
She is, yeah, she does seem dirty.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's like regular girl hot.
Yeah,
I feel like I saw her. What did she do? The Vivid. She did like that. It was just new, just her alone. Sure, yeah, why not? But yeah, I mean, the people that, you know, get on somebody like Anthony Weiner, I just feel like they just have no. I don't know. They're not thinking, you know, like these are the same people that, you know, maybe smoke 2 packs a day. Well, fuck you. You're disgusting. You're smoking 2 packs a day. Like, it's just that is, no matter how demonized smoking has become, it's still more socially acceptable than, you know, sending dick pictures to random people. We're
very silly, and again, we deserve the liars we get because they all do it. They're all shit. Your politicians, I mean, come on. They're all fucking pigs. Look at the mayor of San Diego. Look at Jim McGreevey, he was blowing people. And I don't care that he's gay.
Right.
He was cheating on his wife. Look at Spitzer. Look at Mark Sanford. Look what Bill Clinton did. Some of them aren't. Like Obama, for some reason, doesn't strike me as a pig. George Bush didn't strike me as a pig. But enough of JFK couldn't keep his, Otto has a great joke. He'd fuck a parking meter if there was time left in it. It's an Otto and George joke. They're all fucking pigs, and a lot of them do amazing, great, life-changing work, so stop giving a shit. And I know that makes them susceptible to blackmail, so stop making it so shameful so they can't get blackmailed for it. Who cares? I don't care what they do.
A lot of these people probably have understand, and they have a
maybe
with their significant others. Maybe some
Wiener May. I mean, who knows? Maybe
she's certainly sticking around.
Yeah,
for some reason.
Maybe she likes that about dirty Anthony.
Maybe she texts vagina pictures.
Oh, I hope so. Women don't do that, though. I mean, like, Hillary Clinton's never going to get caught for opening her asshole over a mirror and snapping a photo and fucking sending it to some guy in Decatur who's jerking off.
I hope, though, that she has her own fun. Somehow I think she doesn't, but it seems unfair.
She seems almost asexual.
Yeah. It could be the pantsuits.
Yeah, they're terrible. She's got the sex appeal of a cicada.
All right, Jimmy. I'm going to let you go. I really appreciate you talking to me.
I'm exhausted, dude. But no, you treat comedians good, so I'm happy to do it.
Oh, I appreciate you. I appreciate you noticing, Jim.
Yeah, of course.
It means a lot to me. So congrats on everything. Everybody should check out everything you're doing, American Degenerate.
Thank you.
And please be offended.
Did they send you a link to it?
Yeah, I watched it last night.
Okay, cool.
It's fresh in my mind.
Good, buddy.
The smut you peddle.
I really do peddle.
Ugh. Offensive.
Yeah. Don't be scared, you little bitch. You did good. Kiss in the head. God, that's great.
Creepy dick jokes, like Robert Kelly says in the opening.
Yeah.
All right, Jim. Thanks, man.
Thanks, Dylan.
And there you have it, guys. Jim Norton, the legendary Jim Norton. Thanks so much, you guys, for tuning in again to the Laughspin Podcast. We really do appreciate it. This was a special episode. What we usually do every week is bring you a comedy news digest. So if you like the interview, or if you like the idea of getting your comedy news delivered straight to your ears via iTunes and Stitcher and SoundCloud and TuneIn.com, please do subscribe to the Laughspin Podcast in any of the aforementioned ways. And also do follow us on Twitter at laughspin.com. If you'd like, you could email me at dylan@laughspin.com. That's DYLAN at laughspin.com. We're on Facebook. We're on all the good social media stuff. And also check out allthingscomedy.com, which is our incredible podcast network that was started by Al Madrigal and Bill Burr about a year ago, I guess. So check out allthingscomedy.com, see what's going on over there. So until next week, see you guys.